Evening, host Brian here, Geomagnetic Earthwatch on Thursday, August 3rd, 2023 on a plan. I hope you're well. So apparently many of you like it when I do my talks. You get a lot more comments, a lot more likes. So let's have a talk this evening. Let's pick a letter in the alphabet. Let's talk about a letter in the alphabet. I know. Let's talk about the letter X. So when I was 11 years old, I put my finger through a table saw, bone was sticking out. This is why it's all kind of messed up, right? That's why it's hard for me to type those little tiny characters on my smartphone, right? It's easier for me to talk. Anyway, let's talk about the letter X. Now, there are arguments for and against a large celestial system coming in within our orbital plane, coming into alignment with us. So our orbital plane is our planets orbiting around the sun, more or less like this. But there's something else coming in from this approach, which can only be seen from the Antarctica right now, coming into an alignment with us. And it's accompanying 7 bodies. Before we get into the letter X of the alphabet, first of all, 76% of the stars systems within the galaxy are binary. There are 2 stars within their systems, and another 16% are actually trinary, 3-star systems. Therefore, the odds are pretty good that our sun, Sol, S-O-L, has a companion that drops in every once in a while. Oh, I don't know, 3,657 years approximately. Maybe it was a failed star and turned out to be a brown dwarf. It's not emitting enough light for us to see it yet. However, observable from an infrared radio telescope, astronomical telescope, IRIS. Now, arguments against, or perhaps both in the closed mind in their ignorance, but also by deliberate deception and deflection away from the truth by certain people that I find highly suspicious. That's just my nature. I don't like mysteries, medical mysteries, but I don't like mysteries in general. You gotta solve them. You can sniff people out. Anyway. So the truth is, I think it's a question of time before people's reliability and integrity will fall into question, challenged, and their falsities proven. Then there's our governments. Our governments, if they cannot keep us contained, will abandon us, leave us on the street like trash. They will not be able to control the general population. They will be gone. And everybody else who is serving to mislead you in denial. So it's going to be coming down to your intuition, your gut feeling, and above all, if you've read his playlists and you follow his scripture in the book of Revelation. If you do, you can plainly see that everything's coming together very, very neatly. So let's get into it. Evidence was presented in the past by those then appointed by NASA, but later then suppressed when they realized, shit, man, we shouldn't have said that. The implications. So we had to come up with a cover story and eliminate those in knowledge, leaving only us citizen observers to seek out the truth, await for the truth, watch for the signs of the truth. We can call it the 10th planet, we can call it Planet X, we can call it Nibiru, we can call it Wormwood, we can call it, it's all the same thing. I don't get any, I don't try and consider, trying to think whether it's a binary or trinary, you know, red neutrino, blue neutrino. It's not important. What is important is how our planet is responding to an outside, larger gravitational and electromagnetic influence on our planet, creating those signs as described in Scripture. Matthew 24, Luke 21, Isaiah, Mark, all the rest of the boys. I find integrity in their playlists. Anyway, findings were actually published by the Washington Post on December 30th, 1983, as well as January 30th, 1983, in the New York Times by John Noble Wilford. You can still find those articles on the internet. You haven't got rid of them yet. However, since these findings, NASA abruptly retracted their findings, as they were put on congressional order to not discuss this. Prior to that, they appointed Mr. Robert S. Harrington from the Naval Observatory. They sponsored him to search for Planet X. And when Mr. Harrington was about to make his findings public, as he was on his way back to New Zealand, probably from the Antarctica, he mysteriously died from some, all of a sudden, throat cancer. So when the government realized the implications of a large celestial body, a planetary system, and its gravitational and electromagnetic influence that's going to have on our planet, and they realized this about 40 years ago, give or take, they had to come up with a cover story to explain these changes for as long as they can. That cover story, of course, was the man-made global warming narrative. We are responsible for sea level rise and drastic changes in the weather, etc. Ice melt and all that. And they appointed John Kerry and Al Gore to head up that narrative. People, all you who think that these two guys are idiots, you're the ones not clued in. And I keep on saying, I laugh at all of you and all your videos, especially that idiot across the pond there, the fraud. But everybody else in their lengthy Facebook posts, you're wasting all your brain energy trying to disprove man-made CO2 emissions, all that. Kerry and Gore are all part of it, okay? They have been for longer than most of you have been alive. So it has gone from man-made global warming to climate change, and now it is global boiling. We're boiling over. Do you recognize where this is going to go? Come on, wake up. They're telling you. Your President Biden is getting ready to do it. He's telling you. The more intense, the more drastic, the closer we are to seeing it. The closer we are to the catastrophic Earth responses. But soon, as Mr. John Moore stated in one of his articles, it's going to come a point where they're not going to be able to hide it anymore, and it's going to be the talk of the town. Everybody walking down the street, at the workplace, in the malls, they're all going to be talking about all these earthquakes. And they won't be able to hide them anymore. They're trying to right now. All these sixes, earthquakes that are popping up everywhere, up to 6.8, suddenly deleting them or downgrading them to as low as 3 magnitude. But I still don't get it why other researchers, other YouTubers, they don't seem to get it. Or maybe they don't want to touch the subject. They don't see what's happening and what is about to happen. They can't bring all the pieces of the puzzle together. Perhaps maybe they don't know about his playlist. The playlist, which clearly describes the beginnings of sorrows, the earth pains, the wars and rumors of wars, orchestrated destructions, the earthquakes in diverse places, the pestilence, the famines, the signs from the heavens above, the stars, the sun, the moon. All these things which must first come to pass before the second 42 months, when he arises from the sea of the people, to be seen as a prophet, yet falsely so, and his body the beast from the earth below. All these things must happen first, and they haven't. They're starting to, in my observational opinion. So let's go through what I've been seeing for the past 24 months. And it started on July 29, either 27 or 29, 2021. And it started with a 9.5 earthquake on the Alaska Peninsula, which was very quickly downgraded to an 8.2. Why do we know it was a 9.5? Well, 3 reasons. 1, global seismograph stations picked up that earthquake as a 9.5. When something happens somewhere, there's seismograph stations everywhere. They'll pick up that signal. They know what it was. Second, 10 minutes after that earthquake, every single perimeter tsunami buoy from Honshu, Japan, along the northern perimeter of the Pacific Plate going all the way down to Oregon, every single one simultaneously went into event mode. I don't understand, Brian, how. I'm trying to explain it to you. Remember this, mantle plume. Mantle plumes are anchored to the outer core of our planet, where those changes are taking place from the outside electromagnetic influence, heating up the outer core, the rise of the magma, the heat up the mantle plume to the mantle plume's head, which when they come in contact with the underside of the lithosphere, the upper layer of the crust in which we live upon, can spread in diameter to thousands of kilometers. It can have branches, arms, nodes, lots of different configurations, mantle plumes. They can do this, or they can do this, such as has been demonstrated twice off the coast of Chile, and many other times East Timor Sea entrance to the Indian Ocean between Australia and Indonesia. Anyway, back to the 9.5 earthquake. Second, antipode response. Any earthquake of magnitude 6 or larger, that seismic wave will travel through the center of the earth, and as it comes out the opposite side within 30 degrees, a secondary earthquake can be created. However, that seismic energy will lose between a 1 and a 1.5 magnitude before it comes out on the other side. The antipode from the 9.5 earthquake in Alaska Peninsula was the South Sandwich Islands within the 30-degree parameters. That came in as an 8.2. The 9.5 earthquake in Alaska lost a magnitude of 1.3 by the time it got to the South Sandwich Islands, 8.2. That's when things started, folks. Every single perimeter tsunami buoy in 10 minutes. if it was a tsunami wave, which it wasn't, a tsunami takes between 4 to 5 hours to reach Honshu, Japan, and 4 hours to reach Oregon. Continuing, January of this year, the Banda Sea, Indonesia, there was a 7.8 earthquake. 2,700 kilometers away in the Philippine Sea, tsunami boys went into motion. Brian, I still don't understand. Hang on, I'll go through it one more time. Mantle plume. Branches, arms, nodes. This is the Banda Sea 7.8 earthquake. My knuckles is the regional island starting from Sulawesi. Here we have a line of undersea mounts now activated. Here in the Philippine Sea, tsunami buoys are activated. A branch of a mantle plume, earthquake, tsunami buoys. It doesn't have to be the whole head of the mantle plume. It could be a branch, an arm, a node. Let's continue. Deep earthquakes have been starting up globally in places where they haven't ever been before, including Turkey. Following a deep earthquake event in Turkey, there was the 8.2 earthquakes. Everybody forgot about those, didn't they? France, although not devastating, 5.8 earthquake, and ever since then, daily, dozens of earthquakes, although very, very small, just in the twos, but still. And I've given so many examples. Three months ago, below Central America, there was, within a 24 to 36 hour period, there were 12 plus deep earthquakes. We've never ever have deep earthquakes below Central America. They started from Panama, Nicaragua, Honduras, Mexico, Yucatan Peninsula. Following that massive spread of deep earthquakes, great increase in volcanism. And again, the magnitude 6 earthquakes offshore, which are being deleted. And that region between Honduras and Nicaragua, just offshore, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of earthquakes on a daily basis. Earthquakes in diverse places, yet not in the magnitudes that he wants us to see yet. South Africa, I lost count, 12 or 3 earthquakes so far, around magnitude 3s, but including offshore and including heat anomalies being picked up. Strait of Gibraltar. I've been watching that area for over a year. There's an area on the bottom of the seafloor in the strait. It's an arc of undersea mounts. It's been swarming for quite a while. Now on both sides in Morocco and Spain, magnitude 6s plus, including a 6.8, which was suddenly deleted and changed down to a magnitude 3. 4 or 5 magnitude 6 earthquakes in that region so far. It's all increasing and they don't want us to see it. Rising heat. I've been saying for over a year now, because of the outer core expansion, the rising heat, the rising pressure, we're going to see it in the following order: where the crust is thinnest, oceanic crusts. Next, continental shelves as the thickness steps up. Third, coastal regions. Finally, fourth, on land. I provided many examples, but let's just go through a few since last February. Southern Norway, England, Scotland, Southern Ireland. Let's start off with Southern Ireland. Many heat anomalies. Then all of a sudden, fires everywhere. Southern Norway, wintertime, heat anomalies, followed by, in some cases, those fires again. Scotland, wintertime, -18, spread of heat. Big fire, huge fire. I've said watch for the western continental shelf of Europe, which includes Portugal and France. It actually seems to have started in Norway, working its down to England, Scotland, Ireland, then France with the 5.8, and now all those 6s in the Strait of Gibraltar. My province, British Columbia, such as I have been reporting all those heat anomalies in all the volcanic regions, and in some cases, fires. Not lightning, not eco-terrorists, not laser beams from space. Volcanic regions. Northeast quadrant of North America. Earthquakes. Buffalo, New York, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec. Heat detections, New Jersey, Maine, Nova Scotia. Fire. Continental shelf between Massachusetts and Nova Scotia. Quebec. And our boys. There's a reason why I have in my playlist on my YouTube page a separate section just for the tsunami boys, because they are telling us something. Okay, the tsunami boys are anchored to the ocean floor. Any movement in the ocean floor, uplift or subsidence, pull down, that's going to trigger those boys into event mode. Such as they have been. Distracted timelines. When you hear of such things as Agenda 20 and Agenda 2030, that's all part of the game plan. They want you to think you have that long before all these changes. Sorry, no. I think a lot sooner. I've been saying a long time, by 2025. For a different series of events, both natural and man-made orchestrated. And then the collapse of the jet stream. So once again, our geomagnetic poles are on an excursion and they are drawing towards each other. The point in the middle is either the Bay of Bengal or the Indian Ocean off the west of Sumatra, Indonesia. Okay, they're drawing towards each other. The point opposite that, as that distance increases, it weakens the magnetic field. What's on the opposite side? North America, Central America, South America, where our jet streams appear to be collapsing. They are going beyond meridional. Zonal is usually like this, a slight wave. Meridional is like this, troughs and ridges. But and the result is our destructive weather events. Folks, I think we're going to have a very early, brutal winter. So amongst all the global boiling, you better start thinking about a sudden global cooling, I think. So what are we going to watch out for? If true, and letter X is getting closer and closer, the gravitational influence, the earth wobble, the pole and the tides, those high tide events, big waves starting, earthquakes, outer core is heating up, and it's coming up through the mantle plumes. It's causing lithospheric melting and thinning of the crust. Earthquakes, volcanoes, fires. Depletion of our resources, oil, natural gas, water. we are going to see a suppression as much as they can on all the earthquake reporting. What's going to really get my attention? Not afraid of anything. What's going to get my attention is when they cut public access to the NASA satellite feeds for monitoring all the heat anomalies, the ones that I use every day, every morning, day and night. Next, the tsunami voice. I expect a singular event to happen, one here, one there. If I start seeing a whole bunch at the same time over an area, I said this before, watch your political leaders and their families. Watch for any changes. The wives of political leaders know a lot. And who just announced their separation? The seemingly perfect family. Justin Trudeau and his wife are separating. Watch your political leaders and their families. Watch for impending signs such as your president has been forewarning you of climate lockdowns or climate restrictions and what that really means. Limiting your air travel. Any other restrictions? Climate lockdowns, anything that they can come up with to lock down the general population. Once that is done, then it is easier to impose a martial law when they have to. So you pick who you want to listen to based on his intuition, gut feeling, wisdom, slightly aged wisdom. And when someone starts telling you it absolutely does not exist without giving any explanation, this whole thing is about the geomagnetic reversal, the 12,000-year cycle or the 3,657-year cycle, and what's causing it. And if someone tells you it absolutely does not exist out there, he can't believe in Scripture. So when someone says, oh, the winds can't get above 200 miles an hour, you better expect 500 plus mile an hour winds. If someone says Yellowstone's not going to blow up, given all the evidence and statements and documentation, direct and indirect, and civilian observations about letter X, well, we're all going to find out, aren't we? You're going to find out by paying attention to your planet, something that no one else is telling you out there. No one. Forget about these stupid doomsday global flood maps. Give me a break. Start using some critical thinkings. Start thinking what's going to happen before then. There's going to be coastal inundation. Yes. The U.S. Navy flood map, which you can't find anymore, but you can find through other people. Yeah, that's going to happen. The United Nations is telling you it's going to happen, and they're saying it's going to be biblical. They have to use the man-made global warming narrative. They have to blame us. When the United Nations says half of the world's lakes will be drying up, of course they will. Lithospheric melting, penetration of heat. I think that's about it for now. Half hour. Follow whoever you want to follow. But follow him, all right?